This is otherwise state champ Alex Thompson. This is Josh Elwer from the University of Northern Iowa, and you're listening to Potentially Dangerous on IA Russell.
Hey, is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
From high school to international wrestling, on the mat and beyond, this is the Potentially Dangerous podcast with the guys from IA Russell.
If you're a fighter, you like a fight. If you're an American, you like a fight. If you're an Iowa Hawkeye, you know you're going to get a fight.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. And follow us on social media platforms at IA Russell. Time to strap it up and get to the show. All right, welcome to Potentially Dangerous, episode 111. Tonight we are on Facebook Live. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, all your podcast-friendly apps, you can check in with us every single Tuesday. Nick Ryder's back with me tonight, back-to-back weeks. I mean, this is like, we don't do this very often because usually we're busy, but the wrestling season is over, so we get a little bit more time to kind of relax a little bit and step away. And so welcome back to the show, Mr. Nick Ryder, at Nick_Ryder on Twitter.
Hey, thanks. Had such a good time last week that I thought I'd crash it again this week. So
yeah, Ross Barczyk, he's in his wife's been in the hospital. They just shout out to them. They just had a baby girl, Riley Barczyk, a little baby girl. This has been I guess it's been a long 2-3 weeks now, I think, that they've been in the hospital. So it's been great to have that happen and to see it happen, and we're happy for them. But let's get to the show. So again, 111 episodes we've had. I just saw on Twitter that you have a new Nintendo set up. We've had some conversations here recently about GoldenEye, Fortnite, but I mean, did that kind of get you motivated to go out and buy a new cupboard and a whole new nightstand for your Nintendo setup, or what's up?
No, so we just moved December 7th, so we've been in our house here like 3 months, and because of that, we have to buy all new things for every room, and because none of the old things are good anymore.
Oh.
So
that's a wife decision.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying that we had to buy new things. So part of that basically means we go to Target and spend all the money at the Target. And like I said on Twitter, I'm convinced we're just going to live at Target someday. So it's almost out of control. But yeah, so we ordered this TV cabinet thing last week. I think I was in Cleveland when she ordered it, actually, and see how that works. And so it finally came yesterday. So I put it together and then put all this stuff on it. Today or yesterday, whenever it was. I got the original Nintendo. It's not the original. It's like the fake original that you can buy and play your original games in. You got the original Super Nintendo, the original 64, and then the Wii. I skipped the GameCube because it sucks. I'm sorry. And then
there's a couple good games on GameCube, isn't there? Wasn't there like
there's a
Donkey Kong Racing?
There's a Super Smash Brothers that everyone likes on it. That's like the one that everyone plays, but that's the one that Cam beat me at Corky's in Cleveland. So, but I never really got into Super Smash Brothers, so whatever. I just skipped that whole system. But yeah, so it looks good, and can't wait to fire it up someday when I have some free time.
Are you like? I feel like whenever I buy something from Target or Walmart or IKEA, there's like 1,000 freaking pieces, and it's one of those things where like I can't put it together with my wife because I will just be irate. It's not that neither of us know what the hell we're doing, but it's just better if one person has a task because I just feel like there's so many parts. Was it a wooden dowel system or was it a Chinese kind of lock system?
It was both. So it had dowels and it had the screw lock things. It was actually pretty easy to put together. The hardest part was making sure it was like square, so the doors would shut correctly and like at the right angle and all that. But yeah, it took me probably an hour and a half, but I took some breaks because I'm lazy. So
yeah, I hear you. Well, I mean, speaking of that, so I've been seeing Fortnite on Twitter nonstop. I mean, God knows I follow tons of people on social media, so when I'm going through my Twitter feed, I just seen Fortnite, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, is it a PC game, Xbox, PlayStation? I'm assuming it's Xbox, right?
So I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I do have a brother in college. So he was like, I think he told me that it started on the PC. And like the whole thing is that it's free, so like you don't have to pay for it. That's what free means. But so it started on the PC, and then they ported it over to the Xbox and PlayStation. So that's why like a lot more people play it now, I think. But I don't know for sure. I don't have a new gaming system, so.
Well, it's got to be free because there's tons of freaking people playing this damn thing. I mean, it's like. What was that one game where you just like, it's not a map quest, some kind of quest or something.
Map quest?
That's not map quest. That is an internet direction tool.
I don't.
What the hell was that game?
Direction tool.
I cannot remember what I'm thinking of, but you just roam the freaking fields and you just pick up stuff and people like actually like will pay money for weapons and all kinds of random things. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, so we got in this big ordeal. GoldenEye 64, Fortnite. GoldenEye rules the world, right? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose GoldenEye probably too. I don't like the way you play with your one-shot kill thing.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't. You know, I don't know. Just stand there and shoot each other. How hard is that?
Well, no. Well, I mean, with you, if it's unlimited, it takes actually skill. It takes actually skill to get the one shot. With multiple bullets, you get to use, what is that? An automatic is like just clock, a clock. I think a clock. You just spray and pray. I mean, with a one shot kill,
that's the move.
That is all about the yellow buttons on the 64 controller. Like that was skill. Yeah, and we had no sights, no radar. So I mean, it was very difficult. You just basically had to find people. So you just couldn't go radar. That's hard.
That's half the battle anyway. It's finding people in GoldenEye.
Well, anyways, okay. So we've wasted 10 minutes talking about Nintendo, but. It's the off season, I guess you could say, but let's get into the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic that went down this past weekend. This was an event that Ross Barczyk reached out to them and said, "Hey, Iowa's going to have a hell of a team, hell of a senior team. We need to get these guys there if possible." And, we didn't hear from him for a while. They reached out and said, yes, perfect. Like, let's have you. And then, we said basically, we want to be we don't want a ton of people like in the kitchen figuring out the team, raising money, all this stuff. We just said, hey, we'll get the team assembled and we'll find somebody that can raise the money. We don't want to be a part of raising the money. Well, things just didn't get done because I'm not sure why. So we didn't get the team starting put together. We found out there was no team. I mean, even at the state wrestling tournament, there was no one contacted that we had to put this team together, and there was zero money raised too. So we raised like $7,000 from the state wrestling tournament until last week, and it was just kind of a debacle. To be honest with you, Nick. I mean, you're not a huge high school wrestling guy, but how often do you see on Twitter where people in Iowa are complaining about, well, we're not getting recognized in the national rankings. We don't, Flow Wrestling doesn't care about Iowa, or track wrestling or the open mat. They don't care about, us. Like, this was an opportunity. I mean, how often do you see that? And this is in my head?
No, it seems like it's pretty rare. Like you said, I don't follow the high school scene all that close. But yeah, it seems pretty not very often that you would see a lot of Iowa guys not being ranked.
Yeah, well, it's just the problem is what happens, Nick, is so like Iowa in season, we don't have the opportunity to wrestle out of state because of the Iowa High School Athletic Association rules. Okay, so here's a perfect opportunity. I mean, they're seniors, right? So it's not going to really matter rankings wise. They're almost all committed, but we have a perfect opportunity to put Iowa on the map at the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, which is a huge honor to be to. We haven't been there since the 80s or something like that. I'm not a huge history buff. And we couldn't even raise $10,000. Like, it was very difficult to get a team out there. We had to beg. We had to Iowa USA Wrestling, AAU Wrestling, Iowa IWCOA all put $500 in, but that's very little money for an event like this. And donors around Iowa that they complain that we don't have these big events. Well, this would have been a perfect opportunity for these people to put their money where their mouth is, and it just didn't happen. I
mean, asking anyone to donate money to things is always going to be rough. Like, they have to care about, who's going and the cause and everything, and inviting. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, here's the problem. Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic. The guys that run it said that they've never had a state that's ever had problem raising the money within the first 30 days of getting a team. Like, they were almost embarrassed that we had to have a GoFundMe account.
Well,
I mean, that's what we had to do. We had to do that, but it kind of struck me like, what the hell are we doing? Like, if we have to do a GoFundMe because no one's stepping up. I Wrestle, we promoted it, found some team members. We said from the get-go that we wouldn't be able to financially put money into it, and we didn't want to be involved in the fundraising. I just think that this was an opportunity, and Iowa didn't get behind it whatsoever. The people that are, like, the families that were involved in it, the clubs, the schools did, but everybody around it didn't. I didn't see any articles in any newspapers. The predicament didn't even touch it. I just think it was kind of swept under the rug for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't know what the hell it was.
I mean, I had heard of it before, but I'm still a little fuzzy on all the details. But it is, it's right after nationals. It's right after, we just had state, we just had war, we just had all the D2s, the D3s. Grandview just won another national championship. Like, after D1s, I don't know. Like, for a casual fan, I'm worn out. Like, it's like I'm tired. I don't need like people just spend a whole bunch of money on wrestling, going to NCAAs, going to D2s, D3s, all over the country. There's only so much money that people can give, and the wrestling fan base is only so big. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe I don't know who went at all. I know Michael Blockhouse went. He's the only guy that I know that went. But I don't know if I know if there's an Iowa guy or an Iowa recruit like on the team, then like the Hawkeye Wrestling Club steps up. All those members like help donate. So maybe the key is just more Iowa fans. But even after a while, even they get tapped out. Like, you can only give so much money, you can only give so much time, and But I'm trying not to disagree too much with you, but like there are certainly reasons and timing and stuff going into everything here. So
I'm not more or less disappointed in the parents or the communities around them. I'm disappointed in the organizations. Like, I mean, they gave a little bit of money, but I mean, they're, like the IWCOA, they know people that support wrestling. Iowa USA Wrestling knows people that support wrestling. AAU Wrestling, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's people out there that just love wrestling that are like, they make millions of dollars. They can't just throw $1,000 to the cause, I guess. And then these are some of the people that are complaining about us not being on the national scene. Here's the opportunity to do it, and there's no one stepped up. So I guess I didn't step up personally, but I'm not a millionaire, or I don't make $100,000 a year. So I get what you're saying, where people are tapped out. I mean, a lot of people are already, we're talking about parents. People are already. Yep. Fargo is expensive way expensive. People that go to Disney Duels is really expensive. And I get that, like when it comes to a GoFundMe account, like someone from Valley doesn't want to put up $500 or $1,000 for Joel Shapiro, who didn't go, or Grant Stotts, where, in today's world, I feel like we don't want to give unless it's going to the person that we're supporting, which I get too, but it's something like this, it just takes a lot of people to put something like this together.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but it's a lot of stuff, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to disagree with you, but yeah, you're right. Like, coverage was slacking. Like, even ours was kind of spotty. Getting the word out. But there's so much wrestling stuff. Like, I mean, it's impossible to keep track of it all. Like, there's not one person that can do it. I mean, unless it's Ross. Ross is just special that way. But like, with everything going on, and I think something interesting though is that, and maybe this might be wrong, but like some of the clubs didn't step up a little bit more, and maybe $500 from USA Wrestling, $500 from AAU, like that's good. I won't disparage anybody giving anything that they can, but like, it seems to me that like, if you're gonna be a part of a club and then like maybe go somewhere, maybe the club should help out a little bit, and maybe that did happen, and we just don't know. But that seems to me like a fairly easy, not easy, but like a kind of a go-to place to kind of help raise some funds and get the word out.
Well, let's get to the Pitt Classic, I guess, at least. I mean, hell of a showing by Team Iowa. We're 3-0 now at this event. Every time we've been invited, we've won. And the biggest thing to take away from this, I mean, Michael Blockus got beat. That was, I think, a huge wake-up call for him. But we had good showings from Shapiro. Drew Bennett went 2-0. Zach Price won his match. We dominated the whole duel. We don't need to go, up and down the lineup. But the biggest thing I took away from this, and if you follow us on Snapchat, Zach Price puked right after the match. Did you see that? Were you following it?
Yeah, terrible.
Oh man, like a full bowl.
At least he warned you.
What was he eating?
It doesn't matter. It was terrible.
I think I saw like a chicken bone in there. Like, it was disgusting. God. And then Shapiro pukes on the mat too. Like, after I'm on the Snapchat, boom, Zach Price is puking in the toilet bowl. 6 minutes later, or whatever the hell it was, Joel Shapiro's puking on the mat.
Terrible.
Oh, so I mean, these guys, we're in shape, so they went in there and still dominated. I think that was.
At least they're trying,
I would be puking too.
Oh yeah.
I puked. I almost puked after War at West Gym playing 10 darts games.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Oh, let's not go there.
Yeah,
let's not go there. Let's not go there, Nick Ryder. Oh boy! All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic here. probably the biggest news. I think a lot of people have been, had this guy circled on their best, their list is Chris Bono. Chris Bono to Wisconsin. I feel bad for some of our Iowa guys there. Henry Pohlmeyer. Zach Price is one of those guys that is committed to there. I did talk to him, and I think he's kind of waiting to see what coach comes in there. But what are your thoughts on Chris Bono going to Wisconsin?
Well, I'm fairly excited for Wisconsin. That's kind of cool. Like, they get a younger guy with some energy to come into the program and kind of fire them up a little bit. I made friends with the Wisconsin video people at Nationals, and they're great. So, like, that's exciting for them and everything. Wisconsin has a great arena. It's like the West Gym, but it's like 2 stories. It's fantastic. They're renovating the top part, because right now it's not up to fire code, but they're renovating part of it, so it will be. It's a fantastic arena. I was there last year when you and I went. Had a fan sit right next to me on press row. That was kind of weird. But yeah, it's great for Wisconsin, and who's he taking with him? Anybody? I can't remember.
And when I talked to him, they can't basically say, they can't talk to the recruits about coming, I guess. If they want to come on their own, they will. So
I was talking about coaches. That's what I meant, was coaches.
Oh, so it'll be Ryder and Bono. But I don't know who from from Wisconsin is staying.
Yeah, and I imagine we won't know that for a little while until they get settled in and talk to each other. But
yeah. I think Bono is going there on Monday. So his job officially starts on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's great for them, and there's no reason there's no reason not to think that he'll kind of, give them a boost and get them going. I think Wisconsin took 4th in the Big Ten at the Big Tens, didn't they? Did I just make that up? I might have just made that up.
I'm not a stats guy.
Yeah, I don't remember. That can't be right. That doesn't sound right.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But he'll bump them up, and it's good. I don't see a downside. I don't know who else they really would have hired. Like I said last week, I think I said last week, I wasn't on board for Ben Askren being hired. I just don't think he has enough experience at the Division I level. I'm sure he'll yell at me on his podcast now. But yeah, no, I mean, other than Bono, I didn't think Schwab was going to go from the get-go. But other than Bono, I didn't really see any other like super good choices. So yeah, what about you?
I mean, there is some choices out there, I guess. I just don't know who applied for it. Talked to Bono today, and it sounds from what he said, anyways, is they reached out to him. He didn't apply for it. They went after him during the NCAA tournament. So I think that speaks of Bono's character, that he was happy at South Dakota State, loyal to them. They flew him to freaking Des Moines for state wrestling championships, flew him to Night of Conflict. They took care of him. So it'd be interesting to see, how much they support him at Wisconsin if he has that ability to go fly places. Because I think that was a big reason why he got some of the recruits that he did. Now that he's in the Big Ten, I think he'll be able to get even better recruits.
Yeah, I would think so too. Or, at least that kind of keep going what Barry Davis had built. Not that program was a national title contender every year, but yeah, I don't know why Bono wouldn't be able to build off that and keep things going up there.
He just created a buzz. And we're talking about Brookings, South Dakota.
Yeah, it's not a super interesting place.
It's not a wrestling school.
They do have an Arby's that I've stopped at.
They have an Arby's. It just, to be able to create a buzz like that, that guy was busting his rear end, like radio shows, podcasts, TV shows, anything he could get his hands on to get people through that door, he did it. And it's the reason why he got the job at Wisconsin. Clearly, I mean, he was able to rejuvenate that program. So with him gone now, who do you think actually applies for that job? Is that job attractive?
Well, you got to live at Brookings, so that's, I'm going to say, not ideal. Like, if you could do that job from Minneapolis or something, sure, but you can't. So, I mean, I guess they've got the private jet to fly it wherever you want, whenever you want, but I don't know. Front runners, like, I'm just thinking Nick Mitchell from Grandview. I actually think it'd be a real good stepping stone. The thing that, and I don't know, it's a two-way street, kind of, the way that, like, wrestling works with the athletic department and the way that the head coach interacts with the athletic department and everything. But one thing that South Dakota State did and does really well is their marketing stuff. Like, they put out the information, like, they make stuff fun, they make good graphics, they do things the right way, and they get fans involved, they give out free stuff, they get fans to the arena however they can. And that support from the athletic department is huge when you're trying to build a program. Like, I don't know what their official attendance numbers or anything were like. I'm pretty sure they averaged right around 2,000 fans, because I don't think that arena sits a lot more than that. But they do a kick-ass job on. Oh, am I allowed to swear on this? I don't know.
I don't know if we have rules.
But they crush it in their social media game and getting fans involved and getting them to vote and online Twitter polls and all that stuff. They do a great job. And Bono's a part of that, getting them moving. And I really think that, like, a guy like Nick Mitchell, a guy who, like, hasn't necessarily proved himself, like, on a bigger stage, would slide in real well. You're in the Big 12, you're competing against, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, UNI to some extent, Iowa State. Like, you're at the same level there. If you've got the support, why not go for it? Why not have it be your first try?
I think, too, like, Mitchell's biggest deal, what he has here at Grandview, is it's way different than Brookings as far as, flying kids in. You fly them into Des Moines, they get to drive downtown, go by Gray's Lake, go by the big buildings, go to Grandview, who is putting a ton of money into their athletic programs on their campus, spending money left and right. I don't know how they even have money. And then, fly them into Brookings. I don't even know where the heck you fly into. It's just a different world. But I would assume it'd be a pay raise to go to South Dakota State.
Sure.
So
it has to be.
Mitchell's a guy that wants to, he's always been fighting, NAI is the same level as all the other divisions. Well, it's not. It's not. They did almost beat Iowa State a few years ago, but
I mean, winning one duel against an Iowa State team that is down isn't the same as competing week in and week out at the Division I level.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's I don't mean to disparage what they've done in anything, but NAIA is not even D3. Like, it's a totally different ballgame. And that'd be a thing with Mitchell going to South Dakota State too, is that there are different rules. There's 9.9 scholarships, whereas now, does he have a budget? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think they get more scholarships and more kids that are on the team. That's how NAIA works. It's pretty crazy. There's different things you'd have to work around. But he was able to bring a program that wasn't even around to one of the best dynasties in college wrestling, in college sports. It is. It's one of the best sports dynasties in all sports right now. So it's hard to leave that too. I think he could get it done at South Dakota State. Paul Reedy, the company he has around them, he has the support of the Viking Wrestling Club. I think he gets money that way too. But I think that if he's a guy that likes to prove himself, South Dakota State's the right place to go. Now, does he get hired over, say, a guy like Ryan Morningstar? Ryan Morningstar is a guy that has. It's been rumored that he's wanted his own a head coaching job. He's on the grind recruiting. Is he ready yet? Tom Brands, Terry Brands are always talking about how good of Ryan Morningstar's our guy. Are they saying that so they don't lose Ryan to a head coaching position? I'm sure. Obviously they mean it. I mean, have you ever noticed that? Like they always credit Ryan Morningstar in interviews or anything.
He's saying they say that because he's their guy now. Like he's on the team, works for the team. He's their guy. But then when the second he does take a new job, they'll want to beat his brains in. So I mean, that's coaching at the Division I level is such a weird thing because like you'll see like Metcalf and Zadok, go to Iowa State, and then when they wrestle Iowa, they just they hate their guts, they're both sides. But then when the match is over and everyone calms down, everyone's best friends again. So I don't know if Morningstar wants a D1 job. I don't think for anyone's first stop. Let's just face it, South Dakota State is not anyone's destination. It'll probably always be a stepping stone. So for anyone's first stop, especially bumping up to a Big Ten school or one of those higher level Big 12 schools where they put a bunch of money and give you all the resources, South Dakota State is a good spot to land. The interesting thing is just comparing these two. Like if they both apply for the job and if they both interview, like which one do you take? And I don't know. Like I would probably lean towards Morningstar just because of his experience and who he's worked with and his recruiting ability, and he's done it on a Division I level in the NCAA. But I don't know how you can argue with, I don't know, what is it, 11 national championships or 9 or whatever it is that Mitchell has.
A lot.
I don't even know. It's a lot. It's a ton. I don't know. But I would probably lean towards Morningstar, but maybe grudgingly, question mark. I don't know.
I'm hoping that someone in the state of Iowa gets the job because Iowa is a place where they established some recruiting in Iowa. I'm just trying to think of the candidates. Maybe I'm just blinded by people here in Iowa that I think could get the job, but will they be willing to leave? I don't know what Ryan makes at Iowa. Some people would like to be the guy, and some people want to be behind the scenes, and we'll see. We'll see who ends up taking that job.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't really see like a UNI or an Iowa State assistant even apply. I mean, unless maybe it's Zadok, but
no. Zadok wouldn't apply. Dude, he's making
No, I know that's what I mean. Is like I don't see any of them applying.
No one from Iowa State's applying.
No, and I think everyone at UNI is happy being at UNI. So I was just trying to think of other assistants that might apply for it, but that's not. I don't see any. Also, Ryan Morningstar in 2013 made $50,000.
Yeah. So I would say Ryan or Mitchell, put your hat in the ring, see what happens, I guess. Don't know, like we said multiple times, we're not sure if that would be a good option for either of them two to, once you jump in that ring, man, there's no coming back. But either way, I'm pretty excited to find out what happens there if someone from Iowa does. What does that do if Ryan does take the job? We are speculating here. Does Mark Perry automatically go into recruiting a position? Which, in my mind, talking to Mark, they got to put him in. They got to get him in front of recruits. He can do great things for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, but getting him in front of these recruits is what Iowa needs. They got to. He didn't even tell me anything motivational, but he just has a great passion for the sport. I'd run through a freaking wall for him.
Yeah, but you're not very smart, so.
I'm not very smart, no. But I think I could run through a wall is what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't just hit a wall, come back. I think I could run through the freaking wall. Mark Perry told me to. That's the problem, Nick. That's what I think.
Oh, my bad.
I just think recruiting-wise, he's above a lot of people based off what I've heard. Hit a wall, come back. I think I could run through. So if he moves in, I think that'd be a great spot. Don't know where Ben Burhow's at. They need a strength and conditioning coach. I haven't heard where that ad's at right now. But Travis Rutt is gone. He left, so they need to find somebody for that. Is that somebody with a wrestling background? What?
Why'd he leave?
I'm not sure why he left.
Contract up?
I don't know. That wasn't a page I wanted to flip over. I didn't feel like doing any investigating. I just felt like I think he had another job opportunity or way to move up, and I'm sure it doesn't pay very well.
No, for sure.
But Mark Perry would be the guy that you could put in there right away. Terry, with Nelson coming in next year too, there's something to think about too, is he's never coached Nelson from what I know or from what I've heard anyways.
Oh, Terry?
Yeah, he's not real hands-on. I've heard that Nelson, his senior year, junior summer, that was the first time they actually kind of got their hands on him, and he's gone from here to there, wrestling wise and strength wise, mentally different. Does Terry step away from the program and go to the Hawkeye Wrestling Club? I don't know what these guys are getting paid, but that's something to think about too. Maybe he doesn't want to coach his son. Terry's
not going to go anywhere as long as Spencer Lee's on the roster. Spencer Lee and Terry are like that. No. That bond there is too strong, I think. Tom wasn't even in the back when Spencer Lee was warming up for the national championship. It was all Terry. And Terry's right by Spencer in every photo, and I think they've got something going on there that I think Terry loves it. But Terry, he's not. He might be more hands off in the room with his son, and I would understand that, but he's not there. No, I don't think he's going to give Spencer Lee up.
Well,
I've been wrong. I'm wrong all the time though, so
I don't know. I'm speculating too. I've been crazy into high school this year and haven't had my finger in the Iowa Hawkeye wrestling room a whole lot. So I don't know. I'm just speculating here. What could happen if Morningstar did leave? Those are some things that I think the Hawkeyes could do.
We got a question way back at the start. Is there any word on who from the Hawkeye Wrestling Club is entering the U.S. Open?
Ugh. I haven't heard. I would assume they better all be.
Yeah, I would think so too.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, right. It better be all of them, unless they're hurt. But.
Delgado's gone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So they've got Boris Novachkach. I'm pretty sure he's still there. I haven't been in the room for a while, but that's a guy he's battling through some injuries. You've got Gilman, obviously, and Spencer Lee on the takedown radio this past weekend. he hasn't talked to this team, his coaches about, is he going to go try to qualify for a senior world team. He's still junior eligible, so more than likely he'll wrestle, junior eligibility. Yeah, Corey Clark there too. That will be, trying to take out Gilman. It'll be interesting to see how that dynamic is. I've listened to Gilman on a couple of podcasts, and he thinks it's great that those guys are in the room. Where we saw Ramos, where things just didn't go his way.
Well, Well, part of that too is like I think I don't really want to get into it too much, but
why?
Fine, but I think Ramos felt slighted because they kind of brought Dan Dennis in after Ramos had been training with them for a while and everything, and just the way that all played out. It's a little bit different because like Lee is, in college still and everything. Like it's just a little bit different dynamic. They're not bringing in a guy who lived in his truck for 2 weeks in California to come challenge for the spot. So,
I've read Ramos's book. I get where he's coming from. But I see the other side of things where, they didn't see it like that. Call it sour grapes. I'm not really sure what you could call it. It is what it is. But let's move on to the World Cup. I know you're going to it. World Cup is in, not in this coming Saturday, but the next weekend. I can't go, but everyone listening and watching this should go. There's just over 5,000 tickets sold. Were you surprised by that number when I found that out today?
Super surprised. Like, I almost think that someone lied to you. I mean, that's got to be all session tickets. And at that, it's a super low number for where they probably should be if they want to sell out in a week and a half. I mean, 5,000 it's not even half.
Well, then the information came from the SID. So, I mean, I can imagine, if anything, you would think that they would inflate the numbers a little bit when they're talking to media. Not be like, well, we're going to lie and say it's 5,000, but it's really 7,000. No, they're going to tell you what it is, and they're going to give you a little bit more if they're possible. But Chris Brewer, man, he's a rock star. He gave me, down to the number. I think it was, 5,026?
Yeah, something like that.
Not a random number you just give out to the media members.
No, I'm super surprised. But again, this goes back to, money, and there's only so much that people are willing to spend. And I don't know, all session passes it's over $100, I think. And
it's way, it's like $225 for I thought for a VIP pass or something like that. I don't know. $50 for children. But there's tons of people that didn't go to Ohio because they're.
I don't know, man. It's like if I was just I'm taking photos at it, so I get in for free. Not to brag about that or anything, but since it's the World Cup and it's probably the one time that it's here, I'd probably spend the money and go and try to take someone with me, a buddy or two or something. But I can't imagine being a family of four and having everyone and bringing all of them and spending, if you put $100 on a ticket for an all session, that's $400 just for tickets. And then you got to go and you got to spend food, and then your kids want T-shirts, and those aren't cheap. Those are $35 or $40 a pop for a freaking T-shirt. And then you got to buy programs, and then you got to buy carver cones and carver dogs, and then you got to go and spend beer or go and drink beer at whichever bar downtown you're going to go to. It's not, the stuff isn't cheap, and it all adds up. And the only wrestling community that I think that can support it is Iowa. And maybe they just can't, maybe it can't be done. I mean, we'll see what the final attendance numbers look like and everything. But yeah, prices have got to cut, or not, it's a lot.
I don't think you can cut the prices, I guess. Carver is expensive. We know that. It hasn't. I don't think it has been for a lack of promotion from the promoters. The people in Iowa City, I feel like they've been promoting it really well. But wrestling people are procrastinators. It's horrible. I know that because we're selling tickets tonight at Conflict or at West Gym. It's not even fails in comparison as far as type of event. But people procrastinate as long as they can because a lot of Iowa fans have been to Carver. There's not really a bad seat in the place. I think there's only there's 3 sections that are semi sold out. Our ticket brokers picking up tickets or what's going on. I don't know. But I imagine that this end of this week, by next Wednesday, we'll have a way bigger number. I mean, I'm thinking $7,500, 7,500 people, and then it'll pick up. I think it will.
No, you're probably right. I don't think it'll sell out with the low numbers beforehand and with the rumors that Iran and Russia aren't going to be there. I just don't think it won't sell out. But I mean, hopefully they'll have 10 or 12,000 people there. And
well, they only have one Hawkeye Wrestling Club member on the squad too. I was a little surprised by that. No Bobby Telford, even if they're alternates.
Yeah, that seems like a marketing mistake by the people who set the lineups. Because if you pack that thing full of Hawkeyes, you're going to pack Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just common sense. But part of it too might be that the freestyle, kind of the mystery around freestyle for a lot of fans who have never seen it before has kind of worn off because they had the Olympic trials there twice now. And so it's like, yeah, okay, we've seen it a little bit, and the World Cup, what is that? I don't even know. So maybe it's just disinterest a little bit, but I don't know. Just kind of made that up. So.
As well as nothing like the Olympic trials, in my opinion.
It's a totally different event, but like it's just not the same as going to Carver and watching 10 Hawkeyes go to war on the big mat.
Well, freestyle wrestling just isn't, as far as media goes, it's just not as popular with a lot of media members because they don't know what the heck is going on, for one. And 2, once the season's over, they're like, screw wrestling. They got to go, a lot of the newspapers, they have to go over to other sports.
Yeah. There's that, and there's also the problem of not knowing who they're wrestling. Like right now, we don't even know if Iran and Russia are going to be there.
Yeah.
And then if they are there, we don't know who they're bringing, and we don't know, you don't even know how to pronounce their names. And unless you're a diehard freestyle fan, you don't know who any of these guys are. And it's hard to bill, Kyle Snyder, Captain America, versus some guy from Turkey. You got to have him against, the Russian who's going to come and eat your children in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And, and have Captain America stop him. But, you can't do that if you don't even know if Russia's going to be here. So it's a tough sell. And like I said, though, if there's one wrestling community in the country that can do it, it's Iowa.
I'm not sure how they did it in Los Angeles. No, I'm not sure how many fans they had, but I think 5,000 would be a good number for LA.
Yeah, well, and I remember the one in LA. It was like it was in Iran because LA has a large Iranian population. I don't know why I know that. It's just something that I know. And so they had their vuvuzelas and the chanting and the Iran thing. And it's just, I keep saying Iran too. I know it's pronounced Iran. Iran. But yeah, I don't understand why they would ever have it in LA. I don't know why you would ever have anything or have it anywhere other than Iowa City anyway.
It's true.
That's just me.
Wrestling likes to put things in Los Angeles, Vegas, and Texas for some reason. And the junior duels are going to Seattle or some crap.
Oh, that makes sense.
Ridiculous. Anyways, all right. Well, episode 111, I think. Been a kind of.
This is an episode
or a show? What do we call these?
I just thought we were just talking.
Oh, yeah. So we're on Facebook Live. If you listen to us on the podcast, every single Tuesday, we're going to try to have a show. I'm not sure who's going to host every single time, but we're going to try to do it every single Tuesday. Nick Ryder, Tony Hager. If you got any questions you want us for next week, hit us up on the comment section here below. We appreciate you watching, appreciate you listening on iTunes and Stitcher, all your podcast-friendly apps. Again, for everybody at I Russell, thanks for listening.
Get low when the whistle go.